Thousands of years ago, they were Apollo, Zeus, Ares. Now they are Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and the other heroes and villains of DC and Marvel Comics. Let's get heroic. Welcome to Under Two Capes, the podcast for the comic book fan. Welcome to Under Two Capes. I am Jared, and today, I know I said we were going to talk about the Snyder Cut on DVD. I'm saving that for tomorrow. Today, I happened to see the movie Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Now, all right, I've been pretty vocal on this show leading up to the release that I wasn't exactly that like excited for this movie because it's like not really a big character and all that. So I went into this movie with lower than typical expectations. Now, the thing is, I could not have been more wrong because this movie was fantastic. Like really, really, really good. Way more than I was expecting. So I'm not going to go into the plot at all because this is going to be my spoiler-free review, just so that I'm going to try and keep this as spoiler-free as possible, so it gives you guys more time to go see it before Lad and I do a spoiler version of the review. Hopefully, I'd say Wednesday or so, we should be doing it. Now, let me talk about what I liked. I liked the main character. I like Shang-Chi, but played by Simu Liu. I felt he was a good protagonist, and particularly, I'm not sure if this is a spoiler, but like how his father is the Mandarin, and I really liked how they sort of play off that dynamic in the movie. Also, I felt the whole. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to keep this. I'm trying to talk about what I can talk about. Well, first off, I like the idea about how many characters they brought in, because they brought in Wong, Abomination, a few other surprises that I'm going to not talk about until Lad comes on. But so let's see what else. I liked Aquafina's character, who's Katie. She was hilarious. So basically, all the characters were great. Now, here's the thing. I've been pretty vocal about not liking Black Panther. Now, the question is, why did I like this movie so much, but not like Black Panther? I think here's the reason why. My dad and I were having this conversation in the car ride back to the house. So I think it's because Black Panther was too overtly political, to the point where it just turned me off. I'm one of those people that's like, I like, you can put politics in movies, but you could do it in such a way that's not like ham-fisted in your face, like, this. Like what the X-Men do. The X-Men are still considering gold standard of social justice in comics and pop culture, I think. This movie was that. Wasn't Black Panther. Falcon Winter Soldier was kind of leaned into more of the, kind of leaned more political, but I still think less political than Black Panther, and that's probably why I like that show so much too. But so yeah, this movie was not that political at all. Way less political than I thought it was going to be, honestly. So I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. I like this. So that's majorly why I enjoyed this movie so much more than Black Panther. So moving on to the visual effects were like, they were the ones that are worthy of a Marvel movie. Let me put it that way. This movie was definitely done by Marvel, because there's no way that they could have gotten that awesome level of visual effects, realisticness, and detail. Realisticness is my word. If you hadn't done, if it were from anyone other than Marvel. DC could do it, but I think, but you know what I'm trying to say. It's visual effects that are worthy of Marvel. And I liked how it, so I like how honestly a lot of superhero movies are bringing out sort of obscure-ish characters and giving them their time to shine. Because here's the thing, I've been pretty vocal during the MCU that I'm tired of just seeing Iron Man, Captain America, Thor movies. Like really, really tired at this point. That's why I was like, oh, okay, they're doing more obscure characters. Like Eternals looks freaking dope as hell. I saw that they played a trailer for doing Shang-Chi. I also, and that's why I think I like this movie too. And Suicide Squad. I like James Gunn's Suicide Squad because here's the thing about comic books being existing for so long. They have this diverse cast of characters that don't get enough attention. Like all we hear about is Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, the Avengers, and the Justice League. That's it, and a few villains. But with like characters in the Suicide Squad, like Polka Dot Man, Ratcatcher 2, Bloodsport, they really like dug into the well to get like really obscure characters. And the cool part about using obscure characters like Shang-Chi and this, because since they're not as famous or well known now, okay, this is going to sound bad, but just bear with me. Since they're not as like since they're not as liked in the general audience, what I mean by liked is that they're not like these icons like Superman. It gives you more creative freedom on what you want to do with the character, which that's why I do like when they occasionally throw in an obscure. Plus the fact the obscure characters oftentimes, if done right, can become like mainstream. Like look at the MCU. Started with Iron Man. And when Iron Man was announced, they were like, oh boy, Marvel rolls out the B team. Then guess what happened? We had Iron Man 1, fantastic movie. I feel like Shang-Chi is going to be that for this new generation. And it's cool how now the Avengers are going to be made up of like really like of obscure-ish characters. So it's not like the characters you would expect. So you got, and now so far we have confirmed Captain America, Sam Wilson, maybe Bucky Barnes, Shang-Chi, Bruce Banner, Captain Marvel, Kamala Khan, Doctor Strange, and Spider-Man. Very different. Thor, I wouldn't count yet because, as you saw at the end of Endgame, he's with the Guardians of the Galaxy, so I'm not really gonna count him yet. I think he's taking a little break from Earth. But anyway, I really like what they're doing. And then there was a rumor coming out that Journey Smollett's Black Canary is going to lead the new Justice League if Warner Brothers doesn't do Zack Snyder Part 2 or decides to do it concurrently. So, and the rumored roster is all like obscure characters, except for like there'd be like Batgirl, Supergirl, Black Canary. It looks like there'd be a mix of men and women instead of just Wonder Woman being the only girl, which I guess I can go with that. I like seeing different characters get the spotlight, honestly, even though I like all the really big characters, but because it's like that way they get at least give these characters a chance to see if they can connect with audiences, because it happened with Iron Man, happened with Captain America, happened with Thor. They were not nearly as popular as they are today pre MCU, and look at them now. I think the same thing's gonna happen with Shang-Chi. It's getting great critical reception, and so far it's making bank. It's doing pretty well, pretty successful financially. So I really think we could have a hit on our hands, and then he becomes like a mainstream Marvel, more of a mainstream Marvel character. Because he was kind of in Jonathan Hickman's Avengers run, but he never really took off. So let's see what else. Now, okay, so and also this is going to be a good experiment, because remember, this is the first movie that's going to be, it's going to be on Disney Plus 45 days later, meaning 45 days from now it's going to be on Disney Plus. So they're not doing the simultaneous release. They're going to release this on Disney Plus 45 days later, which I'm like, that should have been the way it's been done from the beginning. Give the movie theaters their chance to grow, which I'm glad they're doing this. So according to Rotten Tomatoes, let's look at the Rotten Tomatoes score for Shang-Chi. I'm pulling that up real quick. And I got a brief glimpse at the Rotten Tomatoes score, and it deserves it. let me see here. Okay, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Let me see what we got here. 92 and a 98. Yeah, but I would say that's accurate. I like it a lot. No, now, okay. I'm aware that as the ratings get in, this changes the ratings kind of vacillate. But so far, let's see, 10,000 verified ratings, 98%. That's pretty solid. And like 262 reviews for the tomato meter, and it's like 92. Yeah, that's pretty solid. I think it's gonna. I think it's a hit. It's definitely a hit. Yeah, I like that. So I honestly do think that at some point, yeah, they already announced that he's on the Avengers kind of in the trailer. So we already have our second Avengers. I like what they're doing because I kind of feel like I'm watching the MCU from the beginning now, because now we're getting the Avengers assembling. And they kind of did that at the end of this movie. I'm not gonna like spoil it. But so let's see. What else can we talk about? I'm trying to be very careful about what I say about this movie. Well, let's see. Let's see, because I'm waiting until Lad comes on, because this coming Wednesday is going to be our spoiler review. If Lad sees the movie, because as you well know, he is very slow in terms of watching stuff, so it can get kind of annoying. But let's see, what else can I talk about here? I mentioned the visual effects. I liked how they used the 10 rings. I didn't mind that they changed it so they're bracelets instead of the actual finger rings, because I was like, yeah, this makes it more on par with the level of like suspension of disbelief that's required for a Marvel movie, because it would be too much to say these magical rings that I put on all 10 of my fingers, because it was and then it would look kind of like a ripoff of the Infinity Gauntlet. So I'm pretty happy with the way they managed the 10 rings. Moving on, let's see. I'm seeing a lot of stuff talking about how it adds diversity to the MCU cast. So I'm like, yeah, okay, that's cool. I definitely like that, because I like seeing a bunch of different perspectives. I like, honestly, people being able to see themselves in their characters. So I definitely see the value in that. And I like the music too. The music was very good. It's very on theme, and then it's very emotional. Let's see. Let me read a rotten score, just so I can see if I can respond to this. Okay, this superhero origin story features some creative choreographed over the top martial arts mayhem, while sacrificing much of its character depth and relevant cultural context along the way. I think what this person is saying is that it didn't get political enough. So I'm like, yeah, I disagree with you on that one. Aided by a familiar performance from Hong Kong superstar Tony Leung, director, this guy doesn't quite remake the Marvel wheel as much as he enlivens it with kinetic, charming, and surprisingly heartfelt Shang-Chi. Yeah. And that's another thing. It didn't really feel like a it felt like they took the formula that made the MCU and then improved it a little better. And then improved it. So I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty dope. I like what they're doing with that. So next, let's see, what else can I bring up here? Because I'm trying to be I'm trying to be very careful that I bring up that I only cover like what's not considered a spoiler. So let's see, let's look at the cast. Let's see if I can bring up that. So okay, so here's what I'm going to try and say. Okay. Oh, and also this movie had the appropriate amount of Marvel humor too. It wasn't like Joss Whedon's Justice League humor, which I've called that the Avengers, but reskinned as Justice League members. But it wouldn't even fit in an Avengers movie. It'd be too much. There's a reason why Joss Whedon does not direct Avengers movies anymore, besides the fact that the dude's a total turd. But this movie and the Snyder Cut. I'm not talking about the Snyder Cut right now, but I'm saying this movie definitely includes the proper amount of humor in order for it to like to not take itself seriously because it's a superhero movie, but also not be a total joke. I think that's really, really important for that to happen. Otherwise, it's like, why am I watching this? All right, so now what I'm gonna do is we are gonna do a little research into Shang-Chi's character history, because that's the purpose of this YouTube channel. Ultimately, it's to provide the viewer with like a background information whenever there's a Marvel movie. This is what we're going to do from now. Whenever there's a Marvel movie coming out, we are going to do an episode talking about the characters in that movie. Just that way we can provide you with more of a like informational resource and keep the content relevant to what's coming out today. Then occasionally we'll do for fun episodes that we want to and we'll definitely occasionally do episodes that we really want to talk about just for fun, but a lot of the times this channel is going to focus on content that's coming out, just that way we can keep it relevant. So we're going to do Shang-Chi or 616. I'm going to share my screen so you guys can look at it with me. All right, so Shang-Chi or 616. So we're going to work with, let's go with the early life history. Shang-Chi was raised to become a deadly assassin by his father, the immortal crime lord and sorcerer Fu Manchu. However, Shang-Chi became aware of his father's evil nature and defected after his first assignment. He then began to attack various elements of his father's criminal empire and allied himself with his father's archenemy, Dennis Nayland Smith and MI6. In retaliation, Fu Manchu sent a number of assassins to kill him. Father issues. His travels, Shang-Chi, led him to meet a number of other martial artists and superheroes around the world. He met his rival Cat and teamed up with Iron Fist, Jack of Hearts, and White Tiger to take down the corporation. After years of playing at games of deceit, Shang-Chi retired from the espionage world. He resurfaced to assist his old friends from MI6 against Sifa ninjas. He did a lot of espionage work, particularly in Jonathan Hickman's run, because there's this scene where the Avengers send like all their covert operations guys and girls into like a casino to get close with a bunch of AIM people. It's really cool. So Marvel Knights, when Daredevil wanted a task force to help him finally capture the Punisher and make him face legal justice, good luck, bro. Shang-Chi became part of that group. The martial artists assisted Daredevil, Black Widow, and their allies against the Punisher and several other threats before the group went their separate ways. So I'm gonna like skip around right now. Let me see if they have Jonathan Hickman's run real quick. Oh, okay, here we go. After the events of Avengers versus X-Men, which is around the time that Jonathan Hickman's Avengers run started, Captain America and Iron Man wanted to make a new, bigger, stronger Avengers team. Shang-Chi was among the first heroes to be chosen for this new initiative. He then accepted an offer from Captain America and saw it as an opportunity to challenge himself. Although Stark acknowledged Shang as an extraordinary hand-to-hand combatant, he wanted to take advantage of Shang's mastery of traditional weaponry and providing him with personal equipment. That's cool. During a mission on Mars, several core members of the Avengers were captured by the Garden, leaving Captain America to assemble the rest of the team to mount a counterattack. Shang was among the many heroes who joined the assault on Mars, a part of the rescue effort to retrieve their companions. During the battle, he faced off against the world-raising robot Aleph and critically damaged its left leg. Although the damage was eventually self-repaired, Aleph is shortly destroyed by Tamara DeVoe, Captain Marvel. She was there too. Captain Universe, when the robot refused to stand down. The Avengers eventually triumphed over the Garden and allowed them to continue their purpose on Mars, granting they leave Earth alone for good. A short while later, Shang was asked by Rogers and started to interview the new Captain Universe and find out the purpose of her presence. Shang felt it very appropriate to speak with the Unipower's host, Tamara DeVoe, and lured her out with pie. Using meditative techniques, he helped piece together Tamara's traumatizing past. It was revealed afterwards that the Unipower manifested at the time because of Earth's pivotal role in the events to come, and it chose Tamara as the host because she was dying, much like the universe itself. Later on, Shang and a team of Avengers went to a casino in Macau to investigate AIM activities. While following his own leads, Shang was attacked by ninjas led by a mysterious armored figure. After utilizing a pair of electrified nunchaku provided by Stark, Shang defeated their leader and took his helmet as a souvenir. He revealed to his teammates that AIM was betting to hire mercenaries and that the insidious organization was preparing a large-scale conflict. So now I'm moving down. Let's look at his power set. His powers. So he's a martial artist. He's one of the greatest martial artists on earth, hasn't been trained possibly since birth to become the ultimate warrior. Okay, it's dope. Skilled gymnast, peak physical conditioning, skilled marksman. Shang is a master marksman, able to throw ranged weapons such as shuriken, throwing stars with pinpoint accuracy. That's dope. Weapon proficiency. Shang is highly skilled with all martial arts weaponry, such as the Chinese double-edged sword, the Jian. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Butterfly swords, oxtail swords, staves, and both single and double nunchaku. He has often made use of makeshift weapons as well, using metal pipes and even a tree trunk. That's dope. Nervous system control. Shang can control his nervous system, enabling him to deafen his body to physical pain, resist the effects of drugs or poisons, limit the spread of toxins in his bloodstream, and even slow down his bleeding rate. This dude's a badass. Jeez. Pressure point indicator. He can locate different pressure points on a person's body, incapacitate, paralyze, severely injure, or kill a person. So he's like Karnak from the Inhumans. Espionage, yeah, he's a spy. Philosophers, extensive knowledge of Eastern philosophy. Patient fisher, he's a skilled fisherman. Okay, he's multilingual. His physical strength. He possesses the strength level of a man of his age, size, and weight who engages in intensive regular exercise. He can lift at least twice his body weight, or 350 pounds. Through his chi, however, he can temporarily increase his physical strength to an unknown amount. So his armor uniform is provided to him by the 5-weapon society, and then he'll have all these different weapons. That is dope. That is really cool. He can slow the spread of poisons. That is so awesome. Let's go to trivia. Although Shang-Chi was uniquely a Marvel creation, many of its supporting characters included Fu Manchu, Fao Lu Se, and Sir Dennis Nayland Smith were actually the creation of early 20th century novelist Sax Rohmer. Fu Manchu and Dennis Nayland Smith made their literary debuts in the 1916 novel The Insidious Dr. Fu Manchu. In 1995, Marvel almost outsourced the production of a line of 4 interconnected series to Milestone Media. Milestone, was that the DC company? Shang-Chi was going to be one of these books. The pitch of the story, written by Dwayne McDuffie, yes, it's the DC, consists of Shang-Chi traveling the globe to dismantle his father's criminal empire and also adding firearms to his combat repertoire. The entire project fell apart since McDuffie had arranged it with Tom DeFalco and Mark Grunwald. DeFalco would be soon replaced as editor-in-chief, and Grunwald would pass away a year later. Rest in peace, bro. Mark Grunwald was one of the people that built the Squadron Supreme. Shang-Chi is identifies himself as a bodhisattva, a person who's on the path toward Buddhahood, but has not attained it. Oh, he's a bodhisattva. I remember this in my religion and world politics class. So yeah, that's so far what we have of Shang-Chi. I'm going to go to a different list. Let's see. Go to marvel.com for the characters. Let's see. In comics, full report. Let's see what Marvel says about him. I have my issues with the way Marvel rates characters, but okay, so let's see. 4 on durability, 3 on energy, 7 on fighting skills. Yep, that's about it. Remember, this is out of 7. 4 on intelligence. I think he's more intelligent than that. 4 on speed, 3 in strength. What? He lived twice, I guess, compared to Hulk. So I guess so. So education, privately tutored by various martial arts masters. His place of origin is the fortress in Henan, People's Republic of China. Let's see. Hand-to-hand combatant, his allies. Shang-Chi has grown close to several people in his life, most of them secret agents and the like, such as Smith's operative Blackjack Tar, Lakey Wu, Clive Reston, and Juliet. In the case of Smith, the martial artist looked upon a man as a surrogate father to replace his own sinister sire. Though allegedly unflinching in his emotions, Shang struck up romances with Lyco and Juliet, but neither of them lasted. His friendships with Tara and Riston both started off from rocky ground due to being thrown together in their mutual pursuit of destroying Shang's father's enterprises. But as time wore on, the bonds strengthened, and to the point, this is very like not grammatically written well. What are you doing, Marvel? To the point of agreement on a shared path where they grew disillusioned with the world's secrets and missions. Shang-Chi has also worked well with several of Earth's costume champions, perhaps foremost among them Spider-Man and Captain America. Oh yeah, I think so. In Spider Island, and we covered that in the previous episode, and a previous episode. I'll link to that in the video if I can remember to do that, where so Spider-Man loses his spider sense. I think it's because J. Jonah Jameson puts up like jammers all over the city. And Shang-Chi teaches Spider-Man how to fight without his spider sense. So let's see. What else can we talk about here? And then crossing paths with Firebrand characters. He crossed paths with Domino while she seeks answers to her past, as well as the X-Men once more. Most likely never get to the finish line. Okay, so let's see this. Here's interesting. Surprisingly, he also accepted Avengers membership offered to him by Captain America and Iron Man. We talked about that. But when exposed to so-called incursion radiation, mutated into a monstrous form. Upon regaining normalcy, Shang was held captive by Hydra during the time of evil Captain America's rise to power in the United States, and subsequently joined the underground resistance movement to oppose him. So that's where he was during Secret Empire. That's dope. So Shang-Chi is very interesting. So in which case, it's criminal that they haven't done more with these characters. Like, really, really criminal. I'm like, come on, guys. You tell me you had a badass character like this. You never really did anything big with him. You're telling me that all this time you had such a badass character like Shang-Chi, and you just left him in the shadows like that? Because let's face it, Shang-Chi, previous to this movie, was not that well known of a character. He will be now. I think he will be. But you're telling me that you didn't want to do anything with him. You see why I have trouble respecting these studios, because they have all these issues that they do all this stuff that makes you seriously doubt their desire to make money. I'm like, oh, come on, guys. Now, let's see. So I'm trying to figure out what else can we talk about, because, okay, so I talked about the music, talked about the special effects. Okay, so one more about the special effects. Actually, no, this would be a spoiler, so I'm not going to do that. I did like the costumes, though. I felt like his armor was super. I like the black and red motif. Those of you that know me know that I love my black and red suits on characters. That's why I love the black suit Superman. I love those are my Halo colors. Whenever I play Halo, I throw on the black and red. I love when Iron Man uses a black and red suit, because that has happened before. So let's see. Let's see what I'm trying to see what else can we talk about, because there's not much that I can talk about without spoiling it. Let me see. I guess for right now, that seems like a good place to leave the Shang-Chi discussion, because I don't want to. That's about all I can say without spoiling it. So I'm gonna wait until Lad comes on, and then we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in much more detail. We'll be able to give you guys a spoiler-free review. I mean, spoiler-full review. And but I'm not going to end the episode right now, because we still got stuff I want to talk about. Chiefly among them, we're going to talk about something that I noticed. Okay, let's see. So the Injustice movie trailer came out. We're going to transition. And oh boy, does that look brutal. So I'm going to talk about two trailers, actually. The Injustice one, and then this Aquaman King of Atlantis BS. All right, so first I'm going to talk about the good thing. Actually, no, I'm going to talk about the Aquaman trailer first, just so I can like end on a high note. So Aquaman, it makes him a joke again. I'm like, come on, guys. We literally waited so long for Aquaman not to be a joke anymore when you do this. This is the stupidest thing I have ever. You know what? I'm going to share my screen so you can see this. Look at this. Stop using this animation style. It's terrible. This is supposed to be standalone episodes. They'll have a unique storyline following the adventures of Aquaman as Protector of the Deep. Oh my gosh. Executive producer is James Wan, really? I mean, it could be good, but not because it's James Wan, but I'm like, three-part event where we begin with Aquaman's first day on the job as a king, and he's got a lot of catching up to do. Oh my gosh. Let's see. On the heels of Warner Brothers' Pictures box office smash to where certain kids and family programming. Yeah, this is dumb. I am not going to watch this, so don't ask. I don't want to see in the comments. Please give us your thoughts on Aquaman, King of Atlantis, because I'm not watching this. I will refuse. This is the one thing I won't watch, okay? Now, I'll show you what I will watch, though. Let me pull this up real quick. Now, I am going to be able to talk about this little beauty. Let me see. I want to see how much. I want to get a good article on the trailer for Injustice. All right. Game Informer. All right. So I will do this. We're talking about a Game Informer article on the Injustice animated movie. All right. I'm not going to play the trailer. So are you ready for another Injustice experience? Because there's been like so many. Not that I'm complaining because I love it. Inspired by the games, the upcoming animated superhero movie will see the Justice League members once more going toe-to-toe in a world gone mad alongside Superman after being tricked into killing his lady love Lois. Injustice challenges comic and gaming fans to take a hard look at what happens when our heroes go to war with one another. In a new look, courtesy of IGN, the trailer at the top of the article gives us a closer feel at what the upcoming film will have to offer. Inspired by the hit game from NetherRealm Studios and best-selling DC graphic novel, the Injustice trailer shows off exactly what happens when it's Superman himself that becomes what he despises the most. The question is, however, this is a poorly written article. The question is, however, if the world itself can withstand the damage when these icons become fallen idols. Justin Hartley leads an all-star cast voicing Superman, alongside Anson Mount as Batman, Zach Calliston as Damian and Jimmy Olsen, Laura Bailey as Lois Lane. Oh, that's actually a pretty good casting. Brian T. Daly as Green Lantern, Brandon Michael Hall as Cyborg, Jillian Jacobs as Harley, Yuri Lowenthal as Mirror Master, Shazam and Flash, Edward Hodge as Mr. Terrific and Killer Croc. Oh, that's dope. Isn't he gonna be Hawkman in the Black Adam movie? Fred Tatasciore as Captain Atom, Derek Phillips as Nightwing and Aquaman, Annika Noni Rose as Catwoman, Kevin Pollak as the Joker, and Jonathan Kent, Farhan Tahir as Ra's al Ghul, Reed Scott as a Green Arrow, and Victor Zsasz, Jeanette Varney as Wonder Woman, and finally Andrew Morgado as Mirror Master Soldier. At the helm of this project is DC Justice League Dark's Matt Peters as the animated film's director, with a script written by Batman Hush Ernie Altbacker. That's concerning. Jim Craig is set to produce the movie with Sam Rister as executive producer. The upcoming Injustice movie experience from Warner Brothers will debut on October 19th. Oh my gosh, it's this close. It is that we are this close, and I'm making a small hand gesture for those of you that are only listening on audio. We're this close to an animated Injustice movie. You will know that for years And for pretty much every episode on the show prior to the announcement, Lad and I have said, you know what they really should do is an Injustice animated movie, because that would be dope. And there's so much potential there. That could be I think that what they should do is make this another animated universe they do. In other words, keep doing the Injustice movies and then do their current DCEU, if you will. I mean, DC AMU. Don't continue the current DCEU because we want the Snyderverse. And based on what I've seen so far, barring Suicide Squad, it hasn't exactly panned out that well. But that's neither here nor there. So let's see, what's the time at 36? All right, so now I talked about that. So okay, I'm gonna talk a little bit about the Snyder Cut, because here's the thing. So I'm holding it in my freaking hand right now. Remember for 4 years when people would tell us, oh, it's a pipe dream, it's never going to come out, there is no Snyder Cut. It's right freaking here. It's hard to believe that we can go out in the store, if you can find it, and pick up a copy of Zack Snyder's Justice League. I got the Blu-ray version. I plan on maybe at a future date getting the trilogy that has all the art prints and everything, if I can find it in the future. Not now. I'm totally happy just having this. But yeah, so, and then don't even get me started on the Warner Brothers screw up where they put the trailer as unlisted. That is total BS, because they knew the trailer was gonna like explode. But I'm not going to talk about that right now. We'll save that for next week, because next week I have a friend coming on who is going to talk about the Snyder Cut. I've been trying to get her on for months, but our schedules didn't really align. But okay, so going back to the Snyder Cut. So it's one thing. It was one thing where I could just watch it whenever I want because of HBO Max. But to hold it, that is a whole nother feeling. And it's a feeling that I keep getting every time I lift up that DVD. Because here's the thing. I'm going to say this again for the new listeners. What got me into comic books in this whole superhero world was the Justice League Unlimited animated series. That was my show for so many years. That's what got me to DC Comics, comic books in general. So that's why that Superman scene where the axe lands and he goes not impressed and the League bash around Steppenwolf, that's why that affected me so emotionally, because what Zach was able to do is he was able to capture that feeling of the little Jared in the hospital room taking comfort from watching the Justice League destroy the latest villain. That's what he was able to do. Somehow he was able to give me back that feeling. And you know what? Here's the thing. The interesting part about that movie is that, so you know how if you watch a scene over and over again, you lose that effect? I still get emotional, the exact same emotions whenever I watch all those awesome action scenes. And the story, really, the whole movie gets me emotional. Every single time. Somehow he was able to make it that way. And that felt more like the Justice League, because here's another reason why I get emotional, and I was just clicked when I was watching it recently. Because I got my Justice League back. Because 2017, as we all know, Craptus League came out, and that was, like I said before, basically the Avengers with Justice League skins. That was clearly not the Justice League. Aquaman was a surfer bro. Flash was a coward. Cyborg was not Frankenstein. He was a Hunchback of Notre Dame walking character. Superman had a freaking fake lip. Wonder Woman was a sex object. And Batman made jokes. I'm like, oh no. Hell no. And Steppenwolf looked like a crappy CG character. So when I watched the Snyder Cut, I'm like, oh, this is way better. because yeah, Aquaman still maintains that mom man attitude, which by the way, so happy that was a Snyder thing. A lot of night when we were sitting down to watch it, we're like, I really hope that my man moment's in there. And then before Aquaman says it, when he's caught by Cyborg, Lad's like, shh, he's gonna say it. Please say it, please say it, please say it. And then he goes, mom man. And then he's like, yes, because that's Lad's favorite line in that movie, because it's so badass. Batman is more, I liked how they made Batman a little more hopeful, inspired by Superman, particularly when like they're leaving, and then a Batman turns to Alfred and goes, he'll be here, I know it. And then Alfred's like, what makes you so sure? And Batman's like, well, faith, Alfred, faith. And he just goes off to fight wars. And then I liked how the Flash got his moment by running back in time, freaking time, in one of the most visually stunning scenes I've ever seen in a DC movie. Cyborg got his moment, got a part of the movie, I think it was like part 3 or so, where it was like his entire backstory, and then he ends up also saying the iconic line from the movie, I'm not broken, I'm not alone. Wonder Woman was a freaking warrior. Even the Amazons, it's like when Hippolyta is like, daughters of Themyscira, show them your fear, and then they scream, we have no fear. I was like, well, that's 300. We finally got a satisfactory look at Darkseid, my favorite comic book antagonist of all time. And then Superman. So many people were really like angry with Snyder when he did Man of Steel, because particularly Jonathan Kent like telling Superman to hide, because when you look back on it, it's like because he knew that the world wasn't ready for him. But what was cool, the way they did it here is, so he comes back to life. He goes back to the Kryptonian ship to get the suit, but as he's doing that, in his head, he keeps hearing like lines from Jor-El and his father going back and forth. And then the coolest, it's just, then they have the new audio when he's in the black suit, and his father says, I'm so proud of you, son. And he goes, Fly Clark, it's time. Like, it's finally time for you to reveal who you are. He even says, you need to show them who you are now. It's time. You can do this now. And he just, which actually is consistent when you think about it. Jonathan Kent is kind of consistent with the way Superman was in Jeff Johns' Secret Origins, because in that Superman, he wasn't legit telling Superman to let people die. He was just saying, listen, you better be very sure of yourself when you reveal yourself to them. You better be very sure this is what you want to do, because once you take the genie out of that bottle, it's not going back. So that was one of the, so that's why it's really consistent, because really what Jonathan Kent and Man of Steel was saying is, be very sure this is what you want. Be very, very sure that pick your moment carefully, because and we saw it as soon as it's out. It's like, Superman saves us. Superman saves us. You have to be very careful. He just wanted his son to be very careful, because also he knew how the government would react to a god among men. So that's what the Snyder Cut really means to me. And I'm going to talk about it next week with my friend Elena. But that's why it was, besides the fact that movie right there is the reason why I have this show right now. Because the story goes, and we did this in the 1 year episode, that when the Snyder Cut was announced, I was in the middle of trying to figure out what I wanted to do for a podcast, because I wanted to have a podcast. I thought about doing politics, but I thought that'd be way too divisive. And then when the Snyder Cut was announced, I started going through all my comic books for the first time in like a long time. And first, I rediscovered my love of comics. And then two, I was like, when I FaceTime Lad to talk about the Snyder Cut announcement, we were like, this is it. Let's do this. I'll talk about comic books all day. Are you kidding me? And then lo and behold, all this grows from that movie right there. All this, you're watching me right now. This show you're watching right now on this YouTube channel is because of that movie right there. That is why. That is why I will fight forever to get the Snyderverse restored, because I owe this show, this platform, to that, and I want to see it through. I want to see what the rest what Snyder had planned. Besides the fact that it's just such a great movie. I was surprised when I sat down to watch it. I was like, okay, how good is this going to be? How good is this really going to be compared to the other one? I sit down and I'm like, oh, this is way better. This is holy moly better. I was extremely surprised. I was like, how is it this good? How the heck is it this good? It's like, wow. And it also made me kind of angry because I'm like, you tell me we could have had this the entire time and Warner Brothers screwed it up? That's why I have no respect for Warner Brothers, and I hope all those people involved get fired. Normally, I'm not like advocating for people to lose their jobs, but yeah, these people deserve to lose their jobs. What they put this cast through, I do not want them in any type of leadership position. I 100% agree with Ray Fisher. So anyway, trying to end it on a high note, because yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up now. So Shang-Chi was freaking dope. Oh my gosh, I cannot even I can't overstate how good that movie was. I felt it was like one of the best, and it's definitely so far the best of the current phase. I would say. But in terms of, yeah, it's definitely the best of the current phase, and then yeah, I want more Snyderverse. So yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for us today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Under Two Capes. We're going to have some good programming coming up this weekend. We're gonna record another one. I'm gonna do another one, and we're gonna get the new show back up and running. I'm just working on once again my schedule. I've said this many times. And then Lad and I are going to be working on improving the Star Wars show. If you guys have any suggestions in terms of how to improve the channel, drop them in the comments. Anything you guys want to see, anything we could be doing better, love to get your guys' input. And once again, also any topics you guys want to see, anything you want us to cover, just drop in the comments, and the next episode will be that. We'll change our plans to talk about that. And we'll be here next Wednesday for hopefully the spoiler Shang-Chi review. And let's see, what else? So the X-Men show also on Wednesday, and then we're still working on what we want to do for Star Wars, because now that we are done with Bad Batch, we're still trying to check it out. But I'm thinking, I don't know. We'll see. But once again, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Hope you guys have a good weekend, and we will see you on Wednesday for Under Two Capes and the X-Men. All right, guys. Have a good night, and stay heroic, everyone. Bye-bye.